Hello again, everybody. Well, it's about 2 weeks before we meet together again here at the church building. I'm certainly looking forward to that. Can't wait to see your smiley faces again and for us to worship together again as God designed. Now, don't worry, for those of you who have chosen not to, because of health reasons, not to meet with us, we're going to be streaming our services live. So exactly the same time that we're worshiping, you'll be able to log onto the internet, onto our church channel, and you're going to be able to participate with us. For those of you who choose to come, we've made extensive plans to ensure your safety, and we've got a lot of people involved, some ushers and all sorts of others to really assist us with that. So it's all systems go for November the 1st. We are going to be having two services that day, one starting at 8:30, running to about 9:15, and the other one starting at 9:30 and run to 10:30. That first day, we'll have two services. We'll decide after that whether the second service is still warranted. It all depends on how many people come. Anyway, we're looking forward to that and look forward to seeing you again. I love the expression, bless you. Of course, we've all grown up with somebody saying, bless you, after you've sneezed, but that's another story. So I sign most of my emails, most of my correspondence, especially when I'm talking to Christian people, with the expression blessings or be blessed, because I truly believe that there's something special about being blessed by God. So how many of you want to live a blessed life? Of course, every one of us does. And so that's what I want to talk to you this morning. This lesson is going to go a little deeper than blessings after a sneeze. The great news is Jesus teaches us how to live a blessed life. And today I want to talk to you about how to be one of Jesus's climbing companions. In an interview on 60 Minutes, a man was being interviewed who just reached the summit of Mount Everest. It was a difficult ascent, and his party had lost two people. They died from exhaustion and exposure. And eventually the interviewer said to the expedition leader, "Why do you do this?" To which the mountaineer replied, "It's obvious to me you've never been to the top of the mountain." Now, Jesus had just come off the lake. I want you to read with me Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. When Jesus saw his ministry drawing huge crowds, he climbed up a hillside. Those who were apprenticed to him, the committed, they climbed with him. Arriving at a quiet place, he sat down and he taught his climbing companions. You know, I want to be a climbing companion with Jesus, don't you? You know, the context is this. There were masses of people by the lake, but as the hill came up, only the committed climbed with him. And this is so unfortunate because not everybody got to hear the Sermon on the Mount, one of the greatest teachings that we have in the Bible. So many people couldn't be bothered to climb with Jesus. So in this lesson, I'm going to share with you 5 ways to live a blessed life. And these are all reachable. They're all achievable. They are not beyond any of us. So say to the person sitting next to you, even you can achieve this. Point number 1 is this. Make an effort to spend time with Jesus. If you want to live a blessed life, you have to make an effort to spend time with Jesus. We see it here. Jesus's climbing companions were the one who got to hear that incredible sermon on the Mount. I wonder what it was like when they went home for supper or went home to their different families. I wonder what their friends and their families said when they said, "Oh, you should have been with us today. You cannot believe this incredible sermon we heard from Jesus." Many of their friends and families will say, "We wish we had put in the effort to come with you so we could hear that very special sermon." You understand that your dreams are uphill. Those hopes that you have, they're all uphill. The relationships that are most dear to you, they're all uphill. No one ever wrote a book called Sliding Your Way to Success. Successful people don't talk about accidental accomplishments. It's all uphill. And if you're going to go uphill, you have to be intentional. No one goes uphill by accident. No successful person, when asked, how did you get to the top of your game, said, oh, I'm not sure. I just woke up and here I was. That doesn't work. If you're going to get to the top, you're going to have to be intentional. And intentionality means you're going to put in the effort to get to the top. And we do that to be Jesus's climbing companions. So if you're going to live the blessed life, you're going to have to be intentional about your life and live a life of purpose. There is a special city in the world. It's called Petra. Most of you have heard of it. It's a city that is carved out of the rock. And millions of people have visited this incredible feat, this beautiful city. But you know, of all the people who have been there, very few have actually seen the library of Petra. And the only reason is they didn't want to put in the effort. You see, the library of Petra is up another hill. It's on top of the hill and you have to walk there. And most people are just not willing to put in the sacrifice. How sad. Too lazy to put in the sacrifice so they could see this incredible feat of humankind. Successful people understand this, that to be successful, you have to put in the effort, and not only will you achieve success, you will feel that life is so fulfilling. You'll feel fulfilled. No one sits on a couch watching TV day after day after day, and at the end of the month, they jump up and say, you know, I feel so fulfilled. It just doesn't work that way. Isn't it incredible how Jesus looked at his disciples not as they were, but as how they could be? And for those who are willing to climb the mountain with Jesus, they get to experience a mountain top experience. And these are the people who become salt and light. These are the people who not only receive life, but the abundant life, because they are with Jesus. The people who are willing to make the climb with Jesus. They understand what it's like to have peace and forgiveness and purpose. Have you ever noticed how every time Jesus walked into someone's life, he lifted them to another level? Many of these people were fishermen, but Jesus said, I will make you fishers of men. And when Jesus takes you to another level, you understand the climb was worth it. Going to a higher level with Jesus was worth it. So Jesus doesn't want us to only be his climbing companions. He's done everything with us so that we can have a relationship with him. Jesus says, I've come, I'm knocking at the door. And Jesus said, if you're lost, I'm looking for you. We just need to open the door and invite him in. Number 2 is this: admit your need for God. If you want to live a blessed life, you have to admit your need for God. The best life begins with a broken life. Look at Matthew chapter 5 and verse 3. You are blessed when you are at the end of your rope. With less of you, there is more of God and his rule. In other words, when you're at the end of your tether and you're hanging on by a thread, it's a good day. Because when you cannot hold on any longer and you let go, you'll discover it wasn't you holding your life together. It was God. Have you ever noticed that every miracle in the Bible begins with a problem? Storm out sea? How are we going to be saved? Miracle. Hey, the Egyptians are closing in. There's nowhere else to go. Miracle. Miracles always came on the back of problems in life. So when you have a problem in your life, consider yourself blessed. because that's when God will step in and you give him an opportunity to do what he does best. Take control of your life. The only person that really has a problem in this life is the person who thinks he doesn't have a problem, because then he has no need for God in his life. You know, Diane tells me I'm very stubborn when it comes to going to the doctor. I normally wait till I'm really, really sick before I'll jump in the car and go and see the doc. But how many times have I said to myself, why did I wait so long to get help? There are people who know more about my health than I do. You cannot live the blessed life until you admit your need for God. Number 3, your losses allow God to love you. You cannot live the blessed life unless you allow God to love you through your losses. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 4. You are blessed when you feel you've lost what is most dear to you. Only then can you be embraced by the one most dear to you. You know, the prodigal son is a perfect example of this. This kid had blown his inheritance. He lands up in a pig pen, not the greatest place for a young Jewish boy to be. And so he decides, I'm going to go back to my father's house as a servant, because he believes he's messed up so much he cannot go back as a son. He comes back with such low expectations, but God raises him. You know, when he came around that last bend and he sees his home in the distance, he couldn't have begun to have imagined his father was standing there with a tear in his eyes and his arms open wide, waiting to embrace his son. He couldn't have believed in his wildest dreams that he was going to get a ring put on his finger, that there was going to be a calf sacrificed for him, and a party would have been held in his honor. He had none of these expectations. You know what? This is what Satan does for us. He takes our expectations and he dumbs them down. This is the trick of the evil one. But God is never more excited to see us than when we come just as we are. It was the prodigal's losses that got him to turn around his life and come to the Father just as you are. Your worst day in your life can become the best day in your life if it drives you back to God. Number 4, live a life of contentment. A blessed person is a person who lives a life of contentment. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 5. You're blessed when you're content with just who you are. No more, no less. That's the moment you find yourselves proud owners of everything that cannot be bought. Look at Matthew chapter 11 and verse 28 to verse 30. Are you tired, worn out, burnt out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. This is a life that is in rhythm with Jesus. Walk with Jesus, accept his presence. Work with Jesus, accepting his partnership. Watching Jesus, just following his example. This is the contented life. Number 5, develop a hunger and a thirst for God. To live a blessed life, we need to develop a hunger and a thirst for God. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 6, you are blessed when you've worked up a good appetite for God. His food and drink is the best meal you will ever need. You know, every person living today was created to know God. And there are people who don't even believe in God, but they know something's missing in their life because they've tried alcohol, they've tried drugs, they've tried crystals, they've tried astronomy, they've tried everything. But God is the answer to that hunger and thirst. God is the answer to that missing feeling in their lives. And if you listen to this message today and you're feeling maybe there's something missing in your life, God wants you to know He can satisfy that feeling. Perhaps you are starting to develop a hunger and a thirst for God. For those of us who are Christians, we see in our colleagues and our friends anxiety and the stuff that goes on in their lives, and we need to recognize maybe this is an opportunity for us to share the gospel because they've got this hunger and they thirst, and only God can satisfy. I don't know where you are in your walk with God, but this I know, Jesus wants to take a walk with you, and things will be so much better for you if you will walk with Him. Perhaps today is the day that you decide, that hunger and your thirst, man, it can be developed into a full-blown relationship with God through His Son, Jesus. Maybe it's the day that you decide to be baptized into Jesus Christ. Take a walk up the mountainside and experience a mountaintop experience, blessings that cannot be experienced outside of Jesus. If you want to be baptized into Jesus Christ, we can help you with that. Perhaps this is the day that you've decided, I've been hanging around by the lake and I want to experience a mountaintop experience. I'm going to take a walk with Jesus. We can help you with that as well. Give us a call if we can. Be blessed. Have a stunning week.